Hey man, say man, back at y'all again today, man, with another video. Guys, today we will be taking a look at the Quickshot Pro from Bionk. These are trigger stops for the PS5. You can see what it includes right here. Now, they make a set of these for PS5. They also make them for the Xbox One and the Xbox Series X and S. However, the ones for the Xbox are quite different. For the ones on the Xbox, you actually take off this whole back panel of the controller and you get a flip switch that activates the trigger stops, putting them to the on or off position. However, when you look at the Quickshot Pro for the PS5, you just get two different sets of triggers in there. One of them will have the trigger stop and one of them will not. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at what we've got here. On these boxes, it does have a little lift lever right here, so you can just pop it open just to see what you're looking at. So we have two different sets of triggers on there. Has improved reaction time, and it says it includes two sets, one with the trigger stop function and one without for added customization. It does also include the little wrench that you'll need to go ahead and make this transition. Let's go ahead and get this box open and take a look at the trigger stops themselves. Going straight into the top, I've already peeled off the tape and taking a look at the box. So we have our instruction manual here. Of course, we're not going to need those. Just in case you do, though, we've got them. It looks like we have some replacement screws that work with that Allen wrench that it's given us. And here are the triggers themselves. So the ones up here that have the little logo on the side, these are the ones with the trigger stop. And then these right here are just going to be your standard oversized trigger pulls. There is not much of an obvious difference between the two, other than the fact you can see on the one with the trigger stop it is a little bit taller and it has like a beveled edge right here. And I believe that's going to stop your trigger from coming all the way down. So let's go ahead and get these installed on the controller. On the back of these guys, you have the little Allen wrench key. All you have to do is adjust that with the provided wrench it gives you. You have here the Bionk brand wrench, and that just goes into the back of this, and you can loosen it or tighten it that way. First thing you're going to want to do is to insert your Allen key and loosen up these trigger stops. That way we can get them onto the controller. They're nice and loose right there. That little center part you'll want to be kind of loose. Do the same thing for the other side, on the R2 side. Nice. Now, you'll want to take your PS5 controller, whichever one you'd like to install these onto, and you'll just go ahead and lock them onto the trigger. So let's take the L2 side right here, and we'll put it on the left trigger. So you have this little lip on the back of the trigger. You're going to want to go ahead and lock that over the lip, and then it just kind of locks onto place. Let's look at it again with the R2 side. You go ahead and lock in that lip right there, and you'll see that there's a small clip right here on the front. It's kind of hard to focus on, but that lip on the front will lock into place on the front of the trigger. Listen to that. There it goes. You'll hear it snap into place. So that's what it looks like. From there, you're just going to want to go ahead and tighten these bad boys up. Make sure they are on there perfectly centered. Going to pause the camera for that. And once you've got them nice, centered, and screwed down, this is what you're looking at, guys. So you'll see that this is the pair with the trigger stop function. And they're pretty clean. It extends it a good far distance out. You don't have to go all the way to the end to press them. You can press them right here if you'd like. However, the main benefit to these is you'll still be able to feel your adaptive triggers, and it doesn't go down all the way. So if you look very closely right there, you'll notice it's hitting the trigger stop instead of pulling the trigger down all the way. Now, this isn't the biggest difference from pulling the trigger down all the way, but it is a slight improved reaction time, guys. So instead of having to pull that trigger down all the way to shoot or aim, you just don't have to pull it down that full distance. It's a regular PS5 controller without the trigger stops on it, so you can see the difference. You'll see it's a nice extension, and if you look pretty closely, you'll be able to tell that there is a shorter distance that you'll have to pull. It's not much of a difference, but in order to shoot on a first-person shooter like Fortnite or Call of Duty, you won't have to worry about pulling the trigger all the way down. Instead, it'll stop it at the optimized area and your adaptive triggers will still be functioning. Let's go ahead and install this other set here onto my white controller. Now, this isn't a trigger stop set. This is just an extension of the triggers, so there shouldn't be any stopping function on these. Let's see what it looks like. Here's what the basic trigger extensions look like on the white controller. You'll notice there's no orange trigger stop logo right there. So here's what it looks like when you pull these guys down all the way. You'll notice there's still a pretty big gap on the trigger stop from the actual controller. So this actually isn't a trigger stop. Like it was saying, this is just a trigger extension. So that's what that looks like. Now let me show you what it looks like to pull down the trigger on the black controller. Here is the black controller right here. Notice when you pull down the trigger on this guy, it actually stops on the plastic piece because the plastic piece itself is the trigger extension. So that's the difference you're looking at for the trigger stop, is that amount of space. I'm not sure if I'll be able to get them side by side, but I'll definitely try to get these clips side by side so that way you can see the difference. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the video here. Thank you guys so much for watching the review, unboxing, and installation of the Bionk Quickshot Pro trigger stops for the PS5. If you have any questions, be sure to comment down below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And until next time, guys, I'll be out this thing. Peace!